Good evening, everyone. Good evening,
Good
everyone. Are
evening,
you
good
all,
evening, good evening.
Good evening.
Good
are you
evening.
all, are you all fired up for today's interesting session? I hope we are all fired up. Um, if you are watching us from our YouTube channel, please try as much as possible to drop your emojis. If you are watching directly from the YouTube channel, we want to see your emojis. Drop the fire emoji. You are very, 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 very welcome. Very welcome. I'm Newton Ovie, a co-moderator and a co-founder of the Who is Your Farmer series that started with a bang on the 27th of April this year. We started with the amazing mandate secretary for the FCTA Women's Secretariat. That was, I think, Dr. Adedayo Benjamin's Lani. And we've had amazing back-to-back episodes to date. In today's episode, we'll be having another special guest, a doctor, by the way, and who will be sharing her expertise with us. She'll be introduced properly later on. But for now, permit me to introduce the founder and vice president of Golan Helps Initiatives. Golan Helps is a non-for-profit organization providing free food to vulnerable households in Abuja. She's also the founder and VP for Urban Family Farming Community. She's a retired federal permanent secretary of the Ministry of Budget and National Planning, a former national convener of the reputable United Nations Food Systems Dialogue in Nigeria, and currently an officer of the Order of the Niger, OON. Please let's welcome Mrs. Olushola Idowu as she comes on stage to open up this phenomenal episode 6 with her introductory remarks. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Newton. Before I do the introductory remarks, let me also briefly introduce the facilitators. The first facilitator is Mrs. Adetunji Stella, an agripreneur with bias for practical agriculture in the most natural ways of farming. Her passion for growing veggies, herbs, and spices has exposed and is enabling her to show interested participants the art of soil preparation, seed sowing, and transplanting of seedlings into containers, home gardens, and open field urban farm. Our second facilitator is Mr. Newton Ovie. Mr. Ovie is an urban farming expert and the executive secretary of the Network for the Agricultural Technical Education of Nigeria, NATEM, supported by the USAID founded Farmer to Farmer program. Mr. Timothy Amodu is the IT officer for the UFF and also doubles as the PA to the chief executive. Mr. Daniel Arileshere is a plant and environmental graduate. He is currently the farm manager of UFF. Thank you. I welcome you all to this episode 6 of our series 1 of Who is Your Farmer. Today we are diving into an inspiring diving into an inspiring story that beautifully bridges the worlds of health and agriculture. As we continue our journey to explore the many faces of farming, we are thrilled to introduce you to a remarkable guest. We are thrilled to introduce you to a remarkable guest, a medical doctor who has traded a white coat for a pair of gardening gloves. This episode will take us on a journey of transformation as we learn how this dedicated individual has taken our medical knowledge and applied it in a vibrant urban farming setting. She is not just growing food, she is nurturing a holistic approach to health that concerns people with the food they eat. Join us as we discuss the challenges and rewards of transitioning from medicine to farming, the importance of sustainable practices, and how we can all be inspired to cultivate better health through the food we consume. Let's get started. I want to thank you so much for joining us for this episode. Next is the introduction of our guest by Mrs. Adetunji. Mrs. Adetunji, please.
Good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be on our episode 6. Our guest for tonight is Dr. Maimuna Alkali, who is the founder and head gardener of Salmar's Garden. It is a business concerned primarily with reviving the culture of growing food in our homes. At Salmar's Garden, they educate about home gardening and also carry out food garden installations. Dr. Maimuna is a primary care physician who decided to change paths and delve into the world of gardening and its immense benefits. She has over 14 years of gardening experience and truly loves it. She loves to teach about gardening and its impact in our lives and believes that through it, the world can be a happier, safer, and more tolerant space. It's my great pleasure to welcome our speaker this evening. Thank you.
Dr. Mimuna, please a quick greet from you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you very much for having me on here. And I look forward to having a very fruitful discussion with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go ahead to play the video that was sent to us by Ms. Dr. Mimuna on our gardening experience. Please kindly watch.
Welcome to Urban Family Farm in the heart of the city.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to my garden. My name is Maimuna Alkali, the CEO of Salmar's Garden, and I believe that every home should have a garden. So I'm going to do a quick tour of my home garden. In no particular order. I have a lot of things everywhere. So I grow fruit trees, and these are the different varieties of fruit trees, local ones, foreign ones. I also do herbs. And this is my main vegetable garden. I grow flowers, as you can see, edible flowers. I like to grow a variety of things. So this is amaranth, F4. You can see a really red one. I have different flowers, and I have this big one that I'm waiting to allow to go to seed. You can see a pretty rose over here. Let me see, let's start from here. So as you can see, my entire house is made of concrete, so I have to grow in containers and raised beds. I have these containers I make, the metal planters on wheels that are easy to move around your house, especially for me who has concrete. Maybe whatever I planted in here might not like too much sun or too much shade, so it affords me the ease of moving around. I have some tomatoes planted here. You can see this amaranth here has gone to seed. I have some kale over there, and I have carrots here. Can you see them? We started harvesting some of the carrots. Let me see if I can pull one up. Yes. Oh, nice. This is a good sized one. So yeah, carrots. I have, like I said, different fruit trees. The one right before me here, you can see the fruits, the star fruit. My daughter attempted to grow potatoes in this sack, but it didn't work out. I have lemons here as well. Can you see the lemon here? Star fruit. I have pomegranate trees. I grow everything in containers. I don't have space to plant anything in the ground except outside my house. You can see the pomegranate fruits. And this particular one is growing in this tree. Here I have cherry tomatoes. I don't know if you can see them clearly. Yeah, I have cherry tomatoes. They're going all the way up here, and I grow them in this wooden planters. I've been growing in these planters for 2 years now. I have some turmeric here. I have some, like I said, I grew local and foreign fruits as well. I have raspberries growing here. We harvested ripe ones this morning. More cherry tomatoes. What else do I have? I have turmeric in this container. I have ugu growing here. Here I do a lot of my potting. You can see the soil. You can see the different things I have growing on here. Then I have parsley here. My growing medium. Then I have ugu here. I made this planter. It's a fabric planter that I made specifically for my ugu, and then we made a special kind of trellis with binding wire. Very simple, but this is directly behind my kitchen so that I have easy access to ugu whenever I need it. You can see my house is covered in plants. I have sweet potatoes here. These are sweet potatoes growing in here. We've harvested the orange sweet potatoes. This is a planter I made out of pipes to grow strawberries for us, and we've harvested quite some. This is made out of a 6-inch pipe. More pomegranates. So my house doubles as a nursery, my makeshift nursery before I moved to my permanent garden center space by the grace of God. So I have some yellow figs here. Can you see them? Yellow figs. Then what else do I have here? I have a lime tree also in a container. Like I said, I grow everything in containers. I have lemons over here. You can see the weather is changing, so everything is complaining already. You can see these ones are droopy, so we need to water them. So as you can see, everything I grow in containers. Everything. Yeah, everything. All my trees are in containers. I have this trellis. I don't know if you noticed it from earlier. A grape plant is growing over. And then over here, I planted ginger. Let's see. I don't know if you can spot this one right here. It's already showing. So we'll be harvesting ginger in a few weeks, or maybe by October ending or thereabouts. Once it starts to shoot flowers out, then we know that it's time to harvest. I have my pomegranate tree here. This one's the birds have got into it, and then this one has started cracking. I think we left it on for too long, or yeah, and the birds have also got into it. Yeah, so they are our neighbors in the garden. We allow them to eat some of our fruits. More herbs over here. More fruits. This is an orange tree. This is henna. So yeah, that's all I have going on in my garden. Nothing much. This is all about my garden. I believe in growing everything that I can grow as much as I can. This is a lemon. The oranges, some of them, these we need to change their containers because they've outgrown them. These are limes growing here. Let me see if I can get here. No, break off the branch. Yeah, this is lime. Lemon. So my entire house is covered in plants. This is coffee. We harvested some and attempted making some coffee of our own. I have some apple trees. They're giving us fruits in the past, and it's currently flowering at the moment. Yeah, let me see. Apple flowers. And yeah, that's all. That's the end of the tour of my garden. Thank you for listening in.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Maimuna Alkali, for showing us your
You're
garden.
welcome.
So we are going to start with the question and answer now. And we'll start with Mrs. Adetunji asking the first question, followed by Mr. Newton, followed by Mr. Mood, and followed by Mr. Daniel. Then we'll go another round again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma. Doctor,
Thank
that was
you.
a very beautiful tour of your garden. Okay,
Thank
our
you.
first question is what inspired your transition from being a primary care physician to becoming the founder of Salmar's Garden? Thank you.
Thank you. So, I started gardening 14 years ago, accidentally. Um, I had, when you wash your tomatoes and peppers and you just pour the water on the ground and, they start growing. And one year I harvested about, let's say, about between half a large basket of tomatoes to maybe one full basket. And I found that, this was something that it was very interesting to me that I could get, like, it was like almost free food to me. I'm like, wow, I was amazed. And then from there my interest peaked. I started growing things like cucumbers, vegetables, and then I moved to a place where I got a larger space, and I just saw that I was doing more and more, delving deeper into gardening, and I found that what I was growing on my own naturally, I've never used any chemicals, fertilizers, or any of or pesticides in my space before. I found that it was totally different from what I was buying in the market. It was more flavorful. It even felt more nutritional, even though I don't have the things that I need to test for nutrition. But it was just so much different, and I was like, there's something here. And gradually, I just felt that I was getting more satisfaction from gardening than I was getting from my job. And gradually, I started to share my journey with different people, and it became a business slowly. Started selling plants, I started selling compost, and I was making money. And I also found that in gardening I had a better connection, with my creator. So I was like, I don't think medicine, the way I'm practicing it at that time, was what for me. I needed to delve into the world of gardening, and that's how Salmar's Garden came about. Yeah. So I stopped practicing medicine about in 2020. Yes, I stopped practicing medicine in 2020, and I delved fully into gardening, and I've been very happy since then. So, sorry.
Wow. Fantastic. Wow. Uh, this is this is amazing. Very amazing, man. You mentioned that you stopped. Imagine having to go to medical school for about quite a number of years, finishing medical school, and then start working as a medical doctor, and then you just decide to switch to home gardening. Hmm. It's it's very amazing, man. So, but what do you find most fulfilling about this your work as a home gardener compared to your previous role as a medical doctor?
So I'm able to work on my own terms.
Hmm.
I'm able to work on my own time. Those are very, very valuable to me. I have more time with my family. I'm always available whenever they need me, and that's very important to me. And like I said, there's more money, there's more, and then the spiritual connection for me is also very important. That's something I found in gardening as well. So these are some of the things that I have found really fulfilling and have benefited me more than my previous job did. And also the fact that we're eating healthier, We're eating healthier food. I have access to so much more than I did when I wasn't gardening actively. I'm able to do so. Like you saw in the video in my garden, I'm able to grow a wide variety of plants. I'm able to tend to them to myself. If probably I was, still doing that other job, I probably won't have the time to be able to study, about these things, to experiment and then even grow them. So I grow like a wide variety. I have access to what so many people don't have in my garden. So yes, that's what I find fulfilling about my present job as a gardener.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming around. The next question Ma, is can you explain the core mission of Salmar's Garden and how it aims to revive the culture of growing food at home?
Okay, so I believe every home should have a garden, and I guess that's our core mission. Every home should have a garden. Every home should grow at least some part of what they eat. Um, and how we achieve that is by educating I do that a lot on my social media page. I do a lot of education, about how to, set up gardens, what to plant when, and I'm always very, very open to answering questions. And this year, I actually started holding classes. I started holding classes, teaching people how to start planting their food from seeds. And I hold their hands, for a very long time from the session up to when they do their first harvest. And I also go to schools, advocating about um, planting, in schools. Hopefully, maybe next year, I'll do more for schools, um, you know, telling them about the benefits of growing their food and probably even helping several schools to set up their school gardens. So I believe that we need to have gardens everywhere, especially fruit gardens. Nigeria, as it is now, um, especially in the cities, there's a population crisis, homes are crowded. But I'm sure if we're able to advocate for community gardens, it will go a long way in um, solving, the current food crisis that we have. So yes, for me, primarily it's education and helping people set up gardens in their homes.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mimuna, for the insights. Really appreciate. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Yeah. So the question I'm going to be asking is, how do you think home gardening can positively impact both individuals and communities?
Okay. Um, as individuals, home gardening, when you garden at home, just having green around you is beneficial psychologically, and then it affords you, the ability to exercise. You're moving around. You have something to look forward to. You have a sense of purpose, and that way, you just feel fulfilled. You feel good about yourself, and then there's something about watching things grow. It does so much for your self-esteem. It does so much for your person. You just feel good. You become an all-round happier person. And when you're deliberate about growing the food that you eat, you um you know what goes into your food. You are more aware. And as a home gardener, you have the ability to grow a wide variety, of foods and fruits. Some things you won't even have access to them. You can never get them on the market. So, you are able to you become a happier person mentally, physically. You are eating more nutritious food. Um, and then it even helps, bonding with family. My children love to plant seeds. Once my daughter sees, you know, um, a packet of maybe one of her favorite foods, like the melons or watermelons, immediately she wants to get a seed and plant. And it also teaches us, delayed as individuals, teaches us the value of patience, and delayed gratification. So you know that when I plant a seed today, I'm not going to harvest it tomorrow. I have to take my time. I have to wait, to harvest the fruits of my labor. It's going to take time. I need to do all I need to do, but eventually, once I do, I put in the work. By the grace of God, I will harvest my fruit. So it teaches us patience. It teaches us resilience as individuals, and then for the community, it fosters bonding. You know, um, it fosters bonding. If like sometimes, or even as like yesterday, um I saw like a medicinal plant, and I know that my neighbor would benefit from it. I took some of it and I sent it to her, and that's fostering bonding in the community. When I grow my food, when I grow different vegetables, I share with all my staff have take get from my harvest. And even my neighbors sometimes, I send to family, I send to friends. Everybody's able to benefit, from the garden. So it fosters community bonding. It helps to um, reduce stigmatization. Once everybody is in the garden, especially when we have community gardens, which I hope we'll have soon. Everybody is going to pitch in. We're all digging the soil, we're all planting together. In the garden, everybody, you let your hair down. So things like stigmatization, everybody has a role to play in the garden. People with disabilities, the rich, the poor, everybody. And then even security wise, when our youth are positively engaged, it distracts them from doing otherwise negative things. And you find that there's less crime in communities where there are gardens. Um, and it just generally promotes, the health of the society. Yeah, there's so many benefits to it. I can't even exhaust them. But these are just a few.
Okay, thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
Doctor. We are going through for the next round of questions now. It will also be started by Mrs. Adetunji. So, question 5, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor. Um, Seeing the impact, the benefits, what challenges do you encounter when educating people about home gardening, and how do you overcome them?
Okay, so I would say the most difficult challenge I've come across. Sorry, is access to knowledge, no local knowledge of planting in our environment. When I started this gardening journey, I'm a big believer um of learning about what I'm going to. As one of my mentors would say, you must be knowledgeable enough to drive the process. You can't do anything when you don't have knowledge. Unfortunately, we don't have so much information about growing food in our climate. So we're reading, we'll have to go and adapt what people have done in temperate regions and find ways to adapt it to our environment. So it's quite a challenge, trial and error. You try till you succeed. And then, okay, yes, another thing is access to seeds. Um, we have seeds, available in the market, but not they're not readily available for individuals, for people to like purchase. And again, sadly, most of the seeds we have to import, you know, um, from abroad, which shouldn't be, because those seeds are not primed to our environment. They're primed to that climate, and you find that when we plant them, a lot of times they're struggling. So for the lack of information, I'm working on documenting my findings, and hopefully very soon I probably would put out a book, documenting talking about planting in this environment to help reduce that problem of lack of information. Then for the seeds, this I would implore large scale farmers and those who can, to help provide the seeds from the things we plant locally. Then another challenge is that we don't like to read. Truly, we don't like to read. We like to be spoon fed. So rather than people go do their research about things they're growing, they're dependent on you to feed them information. And then another thing is, like I say, um, a lot of us are not patient. Um, we want to see immediate results, and sometimes we believe gardening is easy, and it's not. So once people encounter a difficulty, they begin to they begin to ask, why is this way? Why is it that way? And they what's the word I'm looking for? They just expect everything to go smoothly, and we know that life doesn't work that way. So yes, these are some of the challenges that I've encountered basically. And so lack of knowledge base, lack of resources. Those are the two main things. And then just general inability to study for ourselves. Yes, I think those are the challenges.
Thank you so much, Ma, for enumerating some of the challenges that have been bedeviling you as you encountered the home gardening and how you're able to overcome them. Thank you so, so much. We believe that you've had over a decade and a half experience in home gardening. So, how have you seen attitudes towards home gardening evolve over the years?
Oh, well, so really, people have taken interest, especially now that everybody is health conscious. You find that um, with the with the increase in health consciousness, everybody is worried about what they're eating. So many diseases are linked to the food we eat. So people really, really, really are are taking up so much interest in gardening. More and more people want to grow food. You find people saying, they have balconies. What can they do on their balconies? Some people have large spaces. Some people, even if it's just a container, they want to try something. I remember someone who I helped with setting up a garden. I think she lives like her balcony is on the third floor. But you should see what she has done with that space. She has different fruit trees, tangerines, pomegranates. She has vegetables growing. You know, um, she's really making the best of her space, and a lot of people also are doing that. Trying to just have available food as much as they can close to them. So attitudes have changed. People no longer think that farming is for the poor people. No, people no longer think that only a select group of people can do it. People are ready to face the challenge. Of gardening, demystify it, and then take it head on just to enjoy healthy food.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Ma.
you. Yeah.
Thank you. My next question goes like this.
Okay.
How do you gardening can contribute to a happier seller and healthier consumption?
Sorry, please can you come again? A happier?
Did you get that, ma?
No, I didn't get that.
Okay,
Yeah, you're
let me come
breaking.
again, ma.
Yes, please.
All right, ma. How do you believe home gardening can contribute to a happier and healthier
safer,
consumption?
Happier and safer consumption.
Happier, safer, and happier consumption
and healthier consumption.
and healthier
Healthier
consumption.
consumption. Okay. Um, like I said, one of the things that motivated me to go into gardening was because, well, I was able to control what I put in my food. I I don't I don't use chemicals. I use all natural materials. In fact, I've gotten to a point where I hardly ever use any pesticides. I just let the plants take care of themselves. If they're going to die, it's not a problem. I can take them out. And most times, if you see that plants actually just they just actually um, suffer for a bit, and then they come back healthier and stronger. developing better immunity to, that disease that was worrying them. But even if I have to use pesticides, I use natural ones, ones that have been deemed safe. And generally, I've come to understand that plant health is based on my soil. So if my soil is healthy, then my plants will be strong enough to fight off whatever disease. So that way, I focus on feeding my soil, taking care of my soil, and not the plants. And that way, my plant is able to is healthy, and is able to give me good, healthy food. Um, I'm sure you all know that this common chemical that is used to kill weeds, Roundup, is responsible for so many cancers all over the world. A lot of people have been paid compensation for that. I saw that recently in the paper. So when you have this kind of information, you're going to be careful about what you put in the process of growing your food. You know, then because of the knowledge I have, and I also encourage other people to study when they're using animal manures. I educate them on how to use those manures before applying it to their soil, so that they don't contact some funny disease from it. So when you're properly informed and you're doing things the right way, food is going to be safer, it's going to be healthier, and then okay, and then naturally anything that is grown in a natural way is definitely going to taste much better, because research has shown that using our regular chemical pesticides has adverse effects on the food. So we're going to grow pretty food that is almost that lacks nutrition, almost has almost no nutrition whatsoever in it. And then we find that because of the quick rate at which the plants absorb, these minerals, you find that foods, yes, they look pretty, but spoilage is much quicker. So we are wasting money because the stuff you buy from the market doesn't last long. I'm sure we've experienced it. If you've bought tomatoes from the market compared to the ones you've grown at home naturally, you find that the ones you've grown at home naturally last far longer than the ones you buy in the market. In fact, you think like there's one special breeze they used to blow on them in the market, but once you bring them home, they immediately transform and begin to change color. So you wonder what is going on. I've been to the market once and I saw people washing okra with clean, and I was so surprised. Why would you do that? So you wonder what are the practices that people are doing on the farms just to sell stuff. But when I'm growing this food myself, you know, I know how I'm harvesting, I know how I'm washing, I know how I'm preserving. I'm not doing any of those nasty stuff. So definitely, once you start home gardening, you're going to be happier, you're going to be safer, and you're going to be healthier. So yeah, um, I think that's it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Medina. Really appreciate your presence here. Thank you, ma. Okay, so the next question would be, for someone new to gardening, what advice would you give them to get started and also stay motivated?
Mhm. All right. So the first thing I tell them is gardening is not easy. There's no point deceiving ourselves that it's easy. It's not easy. So we have to be realistic and tell ourselves the truth that gardening is not easy. But then again, I ask them, are you up for a challenge? And then, for example, in my seed starting classes, when we're planting the seeds, I do it in such a way that you're able to visualize your harvest. So, that keeps you motivated, that keeps you going. For example, we get a combination of seeds that would grow you a salad. So people are excited and are already thinking of I'm going to eat salad in a few days. So that keeps them going, keeps them motivated. I tell them to have requisite knowledge. They should learn to ask from people who have experience. They should make their mistakes. Nothing is perfect in life. So is gardening. They make their mistakes, learn from their mistakes, and then um, you know, continue, pick up from there. So You learn, you ask, you make mistakes, learn from them, and then you practice. You have to practice, keep on practicing, keep on trying different things, see what works for you, and then repeat, the entire circle, and then unlearn some things. Because whether we like it or not, we like it or not, there's some information that we have that doesn't really make sense anymore once we start our gardening journey. And then I tell them to start small. Don't go starting like big when you don't have the experience. Start small and gradually grow with your garden. And then I tell people to grow what they like to eat. There's no point in growing things that we don't like to eat, but because they look pretty, would grow. Um, so yes, and then they need to understand that gardening is about patience. There's hardly anything that you're going to plant and then you harvest in. I think maybe the only thing you can harvest within a month is radish, but every other thing is going to take time, and it's all about process. So enjoy the process, and then towards growing. So most of the times it's not really about the end, but about the process that takes you there. So this is my advice to new gardeners.
Thank you
Okay.
so much, Doctor.
You're welcome.
So you are taking the last question, Mrs.
Next
Adetunji.
question.
Before you go
Yes,
to the
please.
audience.
Okay, ma'am. So, Doctor, looking ahead, how do you envision the future of home gardening in urban areas, especially in Nigeria?
Mm.
Thank you.
From what I'm seeing now, so many people have really taken up, the idea of home gardening. And the first lady has the initiative. I think a competition every home a garden, and I think she even did a few demonstrations, about her own garden. But I was really, 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 especially with the economic situation now, I think people are really delving into home gardening and seeing how they can help themselves, and reduce, what they spend in the market, because really gardening is a very, very generous endeavor. You plant one tomato seed and then you get like more than 50 or 100 depending on what you planted. But gardening is very generous, and someone says that gardening, growing your food is like printing your own currency. And really, once you begin to garden, it seems like it's as if you're printing your own currency. So more people are seeing that, more people are enjoying the benefits. People are benefiting from their gardening. So I think that more and more people in the future, almost virtually every home that can have a garden will have a garden. And interestingly, when I moved here, I moved to Abuja 2 years ago. I had a much larger space, in Kaduna where I came from. And when I moved here, one of the things I lamented about, there's so many estates, and you don't find, you find that the spaces are very small. But of recent, I actually saw an estate advertising gardening space, you know, as well as part of their package. So, it tells you that yes, people are joining the bandwagon and are saying that this gardening is something that a lot more and more people want to be involved in. And another thing I really, really hope that we can do, something largely that the government would do, but if we can advocate for it, I'm sure they would. If they have listening ears, they will listen to us. Is to um, provide community gardens, especially in urban areas. When people are living in houses, face me, I face you kind of house, where are you going to put, where are you going to plant anything? I remember speaking with people I've worked with in the past, especially even when I was still practicing medicine. I used to ask some of my patients that isn't there a space you can have within your home to, just plant a few things. And most of them, their complaint was that the kind of household they live in will not afford them the ability to plant anything. So for spaces like that, high density areas within estates, we're able to provide land for community gardening. I think it's really going to make a difference. So I hope, I'm hoping against hope that we'll be able to get some of these things in future, especially the community gardens. But for home gardening, and that one, it's guaranteed that it's going to boom. In fact, it's booming every day. Like I said, I think we had a fair that concluded a few days ago, and I can tell you that for most of us who were selling I think most patronage came to those who were selling food items like fruit trees and herbs, and vegetables. Most of the patronage came to for us that were selling those items. So yes, I see a really, really, really bright future for home gardening in Nigeria in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mimuna.
Yes, ma'am.
I already have some questions here that I want you to attend to. The first one says, how do you control pests and reptiles in your home garden? Can you attend to that first?
Okay, so pests and reptiles. So like I tell people when I'm educating them, it's just like we get sick. I'm sure there's none of us here who hasn't fallen sick, even if it was just a flu. So disease is a natural part of our garden. So let's not think that having disease and pests in your garden is an abnormal thing. Yes, sometimes it can be overwhelming, but really, if we don't have pests and all those things in our garden, then we need to question our ecosystem. So we need to understand that they are part of our ecosystem. But usually there's an imbalance. And most of the times, when our soil is not healthy, our plants cannot be healthy. So we need to focus on the health of our plants. And then there's some pests like aphids, and mealybugs that are seasonal. So you need to observe them. You find aphids and mealybugs on your plants usually when the heat season has just come in towards the beginning of the rainy season. When you see that there's a flush of young growth on your plants, you find that these insects are more on your plants at that time. And then, as now that with the rainy season is going away, we're entering into the dry season, you might also see a surge in those pests. So me, what I do basically when I see those kind of pests, I just wash off with water. I hardly use anything to spray. Once I wash those insects off with water, it surfaces. And like I say, most of it, except it's overwhelming, the plant is able to recover on its own. And if I see that it's too much, I just cut off the parts. The plant will recover. So I don't use any drastic measures as such. And then as for reptiles, I'm sure most of the reptiles that we are referring to are snakes. I've never seen a snake in my house. Maybe because I grow a diverse range of plants. I also have, even though it's not that much, I have some lemongrass, but I've never seen any snakes in my house. Reptiles, for lizards, I like the lizards around because even the lizards are part of pest control. They eat some of the insects that would otherwise cause problem um to your plants. Even spiders also are good for the garden because they eat some of these pests. So it's just having the knowledge of the different kind of pests, and then why are they here. These are the questions you ask yourself. Why are they here? Is it the time of the season? Is there something I'm doing too much? Like sometimes if you feed your plants too much nitrogen, you put too much maybe manure or too much fertilizer, it causes a rapid growth in the plants. And is this young growth that these aphids and mealybugs like. So they now come and overwhelm your plant. So you need to ask yourself these questions. And like I always say, it's important to read and have the knowledge of some of these things, so that way you're better able to understand. So I don't know if that has answered that person's questions. I won't recommend any pesticides to use. The only thing I use is water and my scissors. If the plant is
Okay.
overwhelmed, I cut off the part. That's it.
Okay. Thank you so
Yes,
very
ma'am.
much. And the next question is the fact that the person said, I can see from your garden that you have so many varieties. How do you get those varieties? I mean, your source.
Oh, my source. I have different sources. I have so many different sources. A lot of those plants, some of them came as gifts. Some of them I buy from different places. I can't list like one particular source, but I'm blessed to have people who have different varieties of plants. Yes, I've gotten so many different gifts from people as plants. And then you have a lot of people who sell plants. So many people who sell plants. So I buy from them, and if I'm able to also get some from abroad. But most of the times I buy them locally, or some of them are gifts.
Okay. Thank you. Another question says to start home gardening, what is the minimum capital to start with? Based on your experience on home gardening.
Wow, minimum capital. I can't give a figure. I can't give a
Mhm.
figure. It depends on what you have. It depends on the space you have. If you have space in the ground and you have if you have ground space, it's different. If you don't have ground space like me, you can see that I have invested a lot in my planters, and the containers I use. So it all depends on really what you have with you at that time. I can't give you a figure. I can't give you a figure.
Okay.
It could
So it
be as
depends.
simple as as simple as you having a bucket with soil and then you open a tomato that you bought from the market and throwing seeds. That's a garden. It could be as little as that.
Could be as much as getting cement bags, rice bags, or something like that.
Yes, yes. So you might need to buy bags, cement bags, or even or if you have ground space, maybe you need to clear the space. You're going to invest in that. You need to get seeds if you don't already have. You need to get manure. So it all depends on the size of space you have, and really, it depends on what you have. I can't give you a figure. It could be as high as millions. And it could be as low as you having a bucket and soil and just tomatoes and peppers that you bought from the market. You just open the pepper seed and just throw it into that soil and your garden starts.
Okay. Thank you so very much. From the
Okay.
facilitator, does anybody have questions? 'Cause I can't see any more questions from the audience. Does anyone have questions from the facilitators? Please unmute yourself and ask your question, please. Does anyone have more questions, please?
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
Um, Doctor, the when we spoke with you the last time, you talked about coming back from an exhibition.
Yes.
How have you had cost to plan? I mean, to have one, or you collaborate with others to have an exhibition for edible plants?
Okay, so far I haven't planned any myself. I haven't planned any myself. Anytime people I see adverts for people having garden fairs, I just register to be part of it. But I've never done one myself. So I just registered to be part of their fairs. I've not. I know that in the past, some people used to hold fairs for like organic produce. I've never participated in that before, but one for strictly edible plants, I've not seen that yet. And in I would I don't know if I don't know if um it would be a good idea to have one because virtually everybody's going to be selling the same thing. So I don't know. I don't think I don't know. I don't know. It's not something I've given much thought to.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe
Well,
we
Okay,
can
question
Ma,
on that.
Ma,
Pardon?
you first of all, thank you so much for this amazing experience with you. Thank you so much where you shared
You
all
too.
your experiences. And it baffles me how you say you use only water and it works for you. It's amazing. I like when you talked about when you deal with the soil health, you are able to is the soil health is directly linked to the plant health, which is very, very commendable and true. Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
wanted to I'm someone who's very interested in the value chain, and I see
In
that you are
pardon? In what?
in the value chain, and I
Okay.
see that you are practicing production at the moment. But again, you mentioned that during the food fair, you sold off some of your edible vegetables. So I'm wondering, did you do some packaging, branding, and then you put it out for sale, or you were just in the raw form?
Okay, so I hardly ever sell my produce. Like I say, I encourage home gardening. So most of what I sell are plants for you to go and plant in your garden. I
Okay.
don't do, I don't do, I hardly ever sell produce. Yes, once in a while, I sell things like sweet corn. I sell things like colored carrots. I think those are the main things I sell. But I don't sell my own produce because I want to encourage people to grow their own. So I only sell things that I know that are not readily available. Like I said, things like colored carrots, you don't find those, the purple, yellow, white carrots. I grow those seasonally, but I hardly sell produce. So at these garden fairs, they're actually garden fairs, and what I do is I sell plants. I sell things like fruit trees. I so that I encourage people. I show people my fruit tree, my own fruit trees, just like I showed you the tour of my garden. I have a lot of trees in pots. I have trees that have been in pots for almost 10 years, some for about 10 years, and they're fruiting and giving me fruit. So I try to tell people that if I'm able to do it, you can do it. You can have your own fruit trees. You can have your own fruits right in your home without going to the market, to buy them. I grow things like herbs, fresh rosemary, fresh thyme, fresh parsley. These are things that you can hardly find. But when you grow them in your garden, you have access to them, and there's nothing you can't compare the fresh and the dried herbs. They're not the same thing. So these are the kind of things I do to encourage people to have home gardens. I sell the ready-made plants for them to grow on. The fair we had in was it April or May? I can't recall when. I sold even things like lettuces, cabbages, tomatoes. People went ahead and planted them on in their gardens and were able to harvest, these vegetables on their own. So these are the kind of things I do to encourage people to have home gardens.
So in short, you have lots of nursery, have you?
Yes, yes, I do.
Okay, you have nursery. Okay. There's a question coming in and said, what's your take on hydroponic soilless farming?
um for people who have small spaces, and some people who don't like to play with dirt, and well, we're going into technology and all of that now, Abby.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a new innovation. Personally, I'm not interested in it, but I won't discourage anybody from doing it. For people who have small spaces and want to grow things like lettuces, and other stuff, they can go ahead. But for me, I'm a very traditional person. I believe in the soil, God given earth and its properties. So it's not something I would do personally, but well, hydroponics is there and it has come to stay. So if the person is interested, and please, by all means, let them go ahead, let them get educated, and then try to do it themselves. But personally, for me, it's not something I see myself getting doing in anytime soon.
Okay. Thank you so very much. Well, I can't see any question here now. Somebody said, God bless you, doctor. You have done excellently well for answering all my
Thank you
questions.
very
So,
much.
God bless you, ma.
Thank you too. You're
Thank you
welcome.
so very much. Thank you so very much. We're still on that one. Well, I think she has answered. Now, what's your take on hydroponic soilless farming? She said she's not discouraging anybody, but she's interested or she's doing currently. I mean, that was what you answered.
Yes, that's my response. Yes.
Yes. So she has been able to answer that question, please. She has nothing against it, but she's not something that she wants to indulge in for now. Thank you so very, very much. Let's start to wind down now. Since there are no more questions to be asked, I'll just give my closing remarks and then we close for the day.
No problem.
What an incredible conversation we've had today with Dr. Mimuna, our amazing guest who has seamlessly transitioned from being a medical doctor to an urban farmer. It's fascinating to see how our experiences in the medical field have shaped our understanding of nutrition, health, and the critical role farming plays in our overall well-being. As we wrap up today's episode, I encourage you to think about the ways we can all connect more deeply with our food sources, whether it's growing your own herbs on a windowsill, supporting local farmers, or simply being more mindful of what you eat. Every little step counts. Thank you for joining us for episode 6 of Who is Your Farmer? Stay tuned as we transition into our next series of Who is Your Farmer, where we'll continue to explore more inspiring stories from the world of agriculture. Kindly share this freely, subscribe, and give a thumbs up on our Urban Farming YouTube channel. Until next time, let's keep cultivating knowledge and connection through the food we share. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Sorry, sorry,
Thank you
sorry.
very much.
I'm
Mhm.
seeing something. Somebody said you said you don't use fertilizer, and he said, so what do you use, ma? That person must be coming a bit late.
Yes.
So can you please quickly just run through it, because I think somebody just
Okay,
wants
so
to know.
I don't use the chemical fertilizers. I use manures. I make compost from my farm waste. I make compost, and it's a very important part of my soil composition. Then I use manures, mostly rabbit manure, because I don't have to break it down before I use it. It's readily available. Once I put it in my soil, and it doesn't affect my plants negatively. It doesn't burn them, unlike chicken or cow dung. So I use mostly rabbit manure. So I use manures mostly. Even though, like right now, I want to try plant manures. It's the I don't know if you know Titonia. It's a flower. It's called the Mexican sunflower. It's You find it begins to grow towards the end of the rainy season, and then once they begin to flower, yellow flowers, you see them mostly by the roadside. It's
Yeah.
Yes, you see them once they begin to flower. It signals that Hamatan has come. So it's called Titonia, and Kenyans have used that flower so much. It competes so well with conventional fertilizers. So I want to try using that as well to see how well it's going to benefit me. So basically, it's just rapid manure on my compost. That's all I use, and I want to experiment with the plant fertilizers as well. So that's it.
Okay.
Mm.
Dr. Memuna,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
spoke too much about the rabbit manure. Where do you get that? Because I know it's only cow dung and then the chicken, whatever that is common. So how do you get the
Okay.
rabbit?
Okay. I forgot to mention that I also use a mix. So I also get things like blood meal, fish meal, bone meal, and I incorporate into my soil. So rabbit manure, I look for people who have rabbits. Funny enough, you actually have a few people who are rearing rabbits, and they're always looking for people to take off the manure from them. I'm not a big fan of foliar fertilizer. I think I'm quite lazy, so I don't really use their urine much. It's mostly the manure I incorporate it in my soil and for all my plants. So I just look for people who have rabbit manure. Most times I get it from Kaduna. I know a few people who grow rabbits in Kaduna. Then I think in Abuja here, there's somebody I know who does rabbit
Rabbit
who has
manure.
rabbits. Yes, rabbit manure. I think it's called Gratitude Organic Fertilizer. That's in
Okay.
Abuja here. He's the only one I know, but most of the manure rabbit manure I get is from Kaduna.
Kaduna.
Then for the blood meal, bone meal, and fish meal, I go to people who formulate chicken feed.
Okay.
The ones, yes, they have, because in their formulation they use all these things as sources of
Yeah.
protein and calcium for the chickens. So
Yeah.
they have them available. So I go to them and I incorporate it. Like now that we're going to plant garlic very soon. October is the time to plant garlic, especially if you're in the north. I'm not sure how well it will do in the south. But right now, I need to get a lot of blood meal and bone meal to feed the garlics and onions, because at the beginning stage they need a lot of this. So I'm going to go and source for large amounts and keep on the farm so that I'm able to feed my plants well. So yeah, these are some of the
Okay.
things I
Thank you
use.
so very much. A
Mm.
question is coming now, and I want to be very, very careful. But I can tell you, I have some people that, in fact, of recent, we had a training uh, of recent. The person said, Mommy, do tell doctor I would like to visit our home garden. But what I will do, I can give a shout out to as many that want to come. So we arrange. I will have to bring them myself. that I don't expose you to unnecessary
Yes,
whatever.
I understand. The thing is that my garden is actually moving very soon. I'm opening a garden center soon, so I will stop receiving gardeners in my house, people in my house.
Okay.
Yes, I'm opening a garden center soon, and it's basically going to be the same setup. I'm going to have different things growing there. So
When will
I
that
hope
be?
that by
How soon will that be? How soon will that
I'm
be?
I'm I'm already working on the space, so I'm hoping that by the end of October, November,
Okay.
I would have opened up the space by the grace of God. Yes. So as soon as I open up, I will let you know.
Okay. Thank you so very
Yeah.
much.
But, yeah.
Okay. So have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this episode 6. Like I said, this is the end of a series. We are starting a new series very, very soon. We are having some other guests during that series. So thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I'm really grateful.
Thank you,
Thank
Doctor.
you. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Can I take my leave?
Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
please.
Thank you very much. All right. Have a good night.
You
If there are any
too.
questions, I will get back to you. If there are more
No
questions,
problem.
I'll get back to you. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.